I'm Tom Dickinson.
And I'm Louis Midas.
And this is The Cloister Room,
a podcast about Doctor Who and other things.
How did you like The Doctor's Wife?
I really liked it.
Really?
Yes.
Huh. No, I liked it a lot, too.
I was going to say, for a minute there, I thought I was, like, all alone here.
No, I thought it was pretty great.
Yeah.
I liked virtually everything about it, I would go so far as to say.
Yeah, I mean, there was really never any slow point where I was like, okay, yeah, I see what's going on here, blah, blah, blah. It was all very... And, you know, it's separated from the Doctor and, what's her name, Idris?
Idris?
Sexy? Sexy, there we go. The Doctor and Sexy, and then Amy and Rory, and it kind of flipped back between them once they got separated. And it just seemed really fast-paced, both flashing between those two. I was, you know, it just sort of grabbed me and pulled me, and I never felt like I was, like, it dragged on. And actually, one of the things I really liked was if you go back and rewatch it, you sort of understand what Sexy is talking about, like when you first meet her, because at first it sounds like incoherent babbling, but then to go back and then you sort of understand it. I was like, oh, this is what she's talking about. I sort of appreciated her more.
Yeah, because she sort of makes references to things that don't become important until later, or never become important, but are mentioned anyway.
Right.
Like, she talks about a 9-year-old repairing a motorbike in his bedroom, and then later that's brought up again. Not in an important context, but in a context.
Right.
But yeah, I did find that I enjoyed it even more on second viewing. There was only one thing about the episode that I disliked.
Oh?
And that was that after years of almost never seeing anything outside of the console room, we finally see the corridors, and they're just so cheap looking.
Yeah,
they're just so ridiculously cheap looking, and I love the TARDIS console, or the TARDIS console room rather. I like the console. I also like the room in which it is situated.
Yeah,
I love this version of the console room, and I just think that those corridors do not live up to it.
Yeah, you know, they were very simple, and there wasn't really anything going on. And yeah, I sort of expected sort of I guess they sort of matched the console room, but not really, because I kind of, like, a big feature, I think, of this console room is how it's kind of, like, multi-tiered. How you have, like, the console up above, and then underneath you can go down there, and there's stuff down there too. Not really, but there's and it's interesting like that. And then I figured the corridors would be similarly designed, where there was stuff underneath, I guess, like maybe like with a glass floor, and then you could see down there. I don't know, like that's what it kind of was, what I was hoping for.
Well, I actually saw a piece of concept art that I believe it was posted on Tumblr by Nat of the Bridging the Rift podcast. And I'm going to see if I can find it and then put it in the Skype chat, and then I'll link it in the doobly-doo so that kids listening at home can follow along. The concept art that went into the corridors looks absolutely fantastic.
Oh, really?
Absolutely nothing like... Right, yeah, absolutely nothing like what made it into the episode. Hold on just a sec. Okay, I suppose I can't rightly say that it was posted by Nat, but it was reblogged,
yes,
as the Tumblr kids like to say.
Yes, those Tumblr kids.
Yes, those Tumble kids. But yes.
Oh man, that's so cool.
I know, it looks great, doesn't it?
It does. Yeah. Oh man, and it totally echoes the feel of the console room because it has the sort of orange walls and then the green floor. Yeah, wow.
Very much the same color scheme.
Yeah.
Just, I mean,
man, that would have been so cool.
I feel like they could have poured money into those and gotten a lot of use out of them over the next couple of years.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And they only need to build one.
Right.
You could just reuse it over and over.
Right, film people running down it at different angles.
Because that's what they did I'm sure that's what they did for the existing corridors that they use in The Doctor's Wife. I'm sure they built a little stretch of corridor with a little intersection, and then they just reuse that over and over.
Yeah. I mean, it makes sense. I mean, and it, that's kind of that's what I would do.
Yeah. Pour money into that, seriously. But yeah, it's now established that this is what the TARDIS corridors look like.
I don't know how I feel about that. But then again, if you can change the desktop theme of the console room, I'm sure you can do something with the corridors.
Yeah, maybe they have a separate theme module.
Yeah, I'm sure.
But yeah, so we've now spent enough time on a single design aspect of this episode that was otherwise pretty fantastic.
Yeah,
I quite liked the Neil Gaiman-ness.
Yes. Yeah, I thought the writing was really fantastic.
It was.
I just loved the dialogue. I loved like every bit of dialogue.
Pretty much, yeah.
I thought, what were they? Uncle and
Auntie and Uncle.
Yeah, Auntie and Uncle. I thought they were great. And I liked the idea that they were kind of just like stitched together of other people that was kind of freaky and kind of cool.
And their dialogue was pretty good, as was the a lot of it was the delivery too by those actors.
Yeah.
So I enjoyed that. I'm not sure why we needed an Ood.
Yeah, that seemed kind of random.
I guess it made for some chase scenes. So.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that was really all the Ood did. And I mean, I guess Ood have kind of in the past been used as channels for evil, if not, I mean, they've never actually been evil, but they've always been channeled for evil purposes, I suppose. So I mean, I guess it sort of was like, you could say like, oh, here they go again.
Right, and that's sort of been built into their concept, like in Planet of the Ood, when we learned about how they are completely telepathic and stuff. So it makes sense that could be hijacked.
Yeah.
But
those poor Ood.
I feel like that might have been a budget thing.
Yeah, I could see that.
Because I mean, that costume exists, so
right.
Rather than I mean, the main villain House is completely incorporeal, basically.
Right.
So it's just lighting, and Michael Sheen, which is actually pretty expensive because he's like a real actor.
He's the most expensive effect of all.
Yes, he's the reason why the why the corridors suck. But yeah,
It was also cool seeing the 10th Doctor's console room again.
Hey, I think you mean the 9th
or
Doctor's
the
room.
9 and 10.
Yeah, well, 10 inherited it.
Yeah, okay, all right, fine, 9.
Or possibly even the 8th. We don't know.
Yeah, maybe it was the 8th.
Anyhow, a console room. Previous console room.
Yes, the previous console room.
Yeah, I'm kind of surprised that still existed.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, in terms of the real world.
Well, yeah, I know. Because I would have figured they would have torn that set down. I mean, I guess, I don't know, because we did see it being destroyed, although we saw it being destroyed, in the show, and not necessarily, but it looked pretty convincing with it, falling apart and breaking apart and being on fire. I thought they would have actually gone and, destroyed it.
Well, that was probably CG.
Well, okay, fine.
But I mean,
go ahead and shatter my illusions.
But I mean, usually they will tear down sets they no longer need.
Right.
So,
yeah, and I would have figured, but I don't know. I guess I could have just kept that one around.
There may be a good reason for it, and it could be that listeners know what that good reason is.
Maybe.
It might have something to do with some sort of like exhibit or something.
I
I don't know.
Or it could do with the Pimp My Ride guy. Exhibit.
Your reference is lost on me.
Never mind.
I don't watch that program.
I only know it for the meme.
Oh.
Anyway,
your memes are lost on me as well. Anyhow.
Okay.
But yeah, I really did also like just the general concept.
Yeah.
It has been done before.
Has it?
Well, not on the show, but I think it's been sentient human TARDISes, or not human TARDISes, but like TARDIS people. That was done, I think it was done in the comics or the novels, or both. And I know there's a Big Finish audio drama where the TARDIS manifests itself as, I guess, a hologram. And that hologram just happens to take the form of the Brigadier. And it's like angry. It's upset with how the Doctor has abused the TARDIS over the years.
Oh. That's so sad.
Yeah, but I kind of like this take on that idea a lot better.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and the audio dramas are technically not canon, right?
No one, well, I mean, there's no official BBC position as to what is and is not canon.
Oh, right. It's just that. Yes. Okay. Right. I remember this argument, or this discussion. It wasn't really an argument.
Well, it is for some people. I mean, I just kind of don't care at this point.
Right.
Because, I mean, they're going to contradict the audios, but they're probably also going to contradict the classic series at various points. and like, the new series are going to contradict themselves.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, why not? But yeah, no, this was very cool, and I liked I kind of liked the idea that the TARDIS stole the Doctor, too.
Yeah, that's pretty great.
Yeah.
That's a pretty big contribution on Neil Gaiman's part.
Mm-hmm.
Or maybe it was Moffat's idea. I don't know whose idea it was, but it's a pretty big contribution on the part of this episode to classic Who. Like, it's one of those things that, like, when like An Unearthly Child was made, there was no concept of Time Lords or Gallifrey or regeneration or any of that. None of that was in the writers' heads, but like now when we watch it, we sort of have that in our heads.
Right.
And I feel like when I go back and watch older Doctor Who stories, this is now going to be in my head. And I'm also including in that, like, recent older Doctor Who stories, like the entirety of Doctor Who. This is going to sort of change the way I think about it.
Well, and I guess because I ended up just this past weekend rewatching all of the episodes so far of season 6, and it did seem, and I probably was just noticing this a little bit more just because of this episode, but it seemed like there was, I'm sure if I were to go even further back I would notice this as well, but it just seemed, what stood out to me was kind of the romantic relationship between the Doctor and the TARDIS. And I mean, I guess it's always been there to some extent, but I mean, and it was like in particular in the pirate episode where they get to the, like, I don't know what you want to call it, the other universe, and the captain-y guy goes to his son, and Amy goes to Rory, and then the Doctor goes to the TARDIS. It was kind of like that.
That's interesting because the pirate episode was originally supposed to air later in the season.
Aha.
And I don't know at what point in the production of the episode, or pre-production perhaps of the episode, that order got changed, because I didn't follow that news very closely as it was happening. But but yeah, I think that might also have something to do with the fact with the frequency of Rory dying.
Yeah,
like this is the third straight episode in which Rory has died.
Yeah,
because he died in the opening of Day of the Moon, and then but these 3 episodes were not originally intended to air in this sequence.
Oh, interesting.
So,
poor Rory.
I'm gonna be pissed if he dies again in the next 2-parter, though.
Yeah. So this next one is a 2-parter.
Yes.
Okay, and then we have another 2-parter.
Well, we have
With the first half.
We have the first half of a two-parter, and that's it.
Man, I can't believe it.
We'll have Torchwood.
I guess.
We'll have Torchwood.
We will have Torchwood.
Oh, and I don't want to draw us too much off on a tangent because I don't feel like we're done discussing
Right.
The Doctor's wife yet. But there's been announced that there's a Torchwood, I guess it's a web series.
Huh.
That's going to tie into the current or the upcoming season and features Eliza Dushku.
Really?
Apparently. I don't know how excited I am about that. I don't really care at this point about Eliza Dushku.
She seems to be working her way into... Well, no, I guess not. I don't know. Yeah, she's kind of just around. Has she been doing anything since Dollhouse?
I'd be the person to ask.
Okay.
Because she rented my grandparents' summer house.
That automatically confers on you authority on all things Eliza Dushku.
Well, no, that's the one thing I know she's done.
Oh, and okay, I see that.
So
okay.
I know at least one thing that she's done.
Gotcha. Well, and that's really, property rental is really the most interesting thing an actor or actress can do.
Well, I didn't claim that it was interesting. It's an answer to your question.
Okay.
But anyhow, want to talk more about Doctor Who?
Sure.
Yeah, I was a little surprised not to see Patchy.
Patchy?
The eye patch lady.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, they brought up the very end of the episode featured... Did they mention the pregnancy thing again? I'm trying to remember.
They didn't mention the pregnancy, but at a couple of points in the episode, they mentioned the Doctor's death.
Yes, okay. That was what was... Because I have been trying to keep track of how many times they refer back to things that happened in the opening two-parter. Okay, so that was... Okay, so they mentioned the Doctor's death. That makes sense, yes.
And it's not mentioned in a way that's really interesting. It's just...
Yeah.
Rory's like, are you still thinking about the fact that the Doctor's going to die? And Amy's like, yes. And then that's it.
Right.
Just to remind us. And also at the end of the episode, there's an annoyingly cryptic thing about River.
Yeah.
The only water in the forest is the river.
Like,
I think that's what it was.
Yeah. Like, did none of the characters... Like, I mean, I know, like, the characters are supposed to be sort of ignorant to the things that are going on, but I mean, like, couldn't they figure that one out?
I'm also a little surprised that the Doctor didn't figure out that sexy was sexy, or that the TARDIS was... Or that Idris was the TARDIS.
What do you mean?
Well, it took him a little longer in the episode to figure that out than I thought it should have.
Yeah.
Maybe that was just because it was obvious by the end of the teaser to the audience, because, I mean, the TARDIS goes dark and then she sort of makes the TARDIS noise.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that it was clear to the audience, or at least it was clear to me.
Well, you're just so very advanced.
Well, I imagine that a lot of... I imagine that it was the intention of the episode that we understand at that point that the TARDIS... That she has, in some sense, absorbed the essence of the TARDIS.
I suppose. I didn't really pick up on that, I guess. Maybe I'm just a bit slow.
Well...
But, I don't know. Because, like, no, doesn't, like, right before... But then, like, right after that, doesn't she appear to, like, I don't know, regenerate or something like that? Or is it... I'm trying to remember.
Well, she has this effect that's similar to regeneration.
Right, that confused me.
Well, the thing is, what I got out of that is, like, the TARDIS goes dark, and then she sort of reacts to that. Mm-hmm. And it's clear that Auntie and Uncle are trying to do something to her.
Yeah.
And that the TARDIS suddenly goes dark, then she suddenly lights up with a sort of regeneration-y kind of light, and then she makes the TARDIS noise.
True.
So that's, at that point, I was like, oh, she's the TARDIS, and that's what is meant by the Doctor's wife. That's quite clever. That's what I thought.
Wow.
Maybe I'm just incredibly intelligent.
Yeah, I think you might be.
Yeah,
but maybe
probably.
maybe I'm just incredibly dull. Maybe I am selling myself short? No, wait, huh? I don't know. Never mind. Anyway, I don't know. It took me, I don't know, like, I thought, like, something, I don't know, it was weird, because, like, I sort of figured that out, but at the same time, it was kind of, like, not really. Like, I was like, well, I don't know why she's making the TARDIS noise. I guess, like, in retrospect, I don't know why it took me so long to figure it out, but, like, yeah, I guess it certainly was. I think that it certainly was meant to imply that, yeah, I don't know. Sorry, I lost my train of thought. I got distracted by my computer telling me it can't record The Office, and I don't even remember telling it to record The Office, so I don't know. Anyway, so what were we talking about?
Well, I mean, we were originally talking about the whole river,
we were talking, yes,
thing.
Yeah.
Well, that kind of bothered me because it's like I think we as the audience are aware of the fact that Stephen Moffat has been saying, "Oh, we're finally going to find out who River Song is."
Yeah.
But I feel like that has sort of been on the back burner anyway. And now they're sort of, I don't know, like they're now front burnering it in this really weird way that has nothing to do with anything else.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe that's just me.
Well, yeah, I mean, yeah. And it certainly, yeah, I don't think it ever stopped being on my mind who River Song was since Silence in the Library. It's kind of one of those things.
You don't think it ever stopped?
What?
Just constantly on your mind?
Oh, yeah. Day and night.
Yeah, okay. Well,
I don't know. But I mean, like, yeah, that's always something that's kind of, yeah, I don't know. And I guess it does seem weird to me that the Doctor kind of just sort of accepts River now.
Well, no matter what River Song turns out to be, it's going to be something that fans have already guessed.
Yeah. Because
fans have had, 3 years almost?
Yeah.
I guess about 3 years to weigh in on who they think River Song actually is,
right.
And everything's been guessed by now. Like, probably. Like, I very much doubt that Stephen Moffat is going to come up with something that nobody has thought of, and I think most of the most plausible ideas have already been discussed on forums and on Twitter and in podcasts and in various forms, to the point where River's identity isn't going to be a huge surprise. Maybe it will. I don't know, but I mean, it'll be it'll be one of a few different things. She's like either the Doctor's future wife, or she's the daughter of Amy, or she's the mother of somebody, or she's a Time Lord, or she's or it's a scam and she's playing the Doctor, or
right.
I don't know, or something I haven't listed, and I'm going to be incredibly surprised.
But yeah, I mean, that's the thing about trying to keep this secret for so long. Is that, or well, not really secret. Well, it's kind of a secret, but like, yeah, to try and like. Yeah, I just feel like there's been so much mystery that's been built up around River Song. It's getting kind of old.
Yeah, and well, I really do think that's all there is to River Song.
Mystery?
It's just that one mystery, and once we find out, the character will cease to be interesting.
Yeah.
At all.
Kind of like Kate on Lost.
Yeah. Yeah. Pretty much.
But yes.
And they drew that out as well, too.
They did.
The whole what Kate did thing.
Yeah. So maybe we'll have an episode What River Did.
Maybe
that's one. Maybe
who
that's
she
one.
killed.
Yeah.
But yeah. I don't know. We'll find that out soon enough, I'm sure.
Yeah. Or at least by the fall, probably.
Yeah, I would not be surprised if that revelation came in episode 7.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if it didn't, but I mean, I'm sort of half expecting.
Yeah, like that's like the big reveal, and then that's a cliffhanger.
Or an element of the cliffhanger.
Yeah, I could see that. Oh well, only have to wait a few more weeks to find out, I guess.
Yeah, I guess.
Man,
Anyhow.
I don't like the split season nonsense. I mean, it might turn out that it's going to be really epic, but at the same time, it's really kind of frustrating.
Well, it will mean, I mean, Doctor Who in the fall.
That's true, and that's always a good thing.
And then Doctor Who at Christmas.
Right.
And then Doctor Who again at about Easter time, presumably. So...
Are they going to do this split season nonsense moving forward, or are they going to switch back next year?
I'm guessing they're going to see how this works out.
Right.
But
Yeah, well, that's interesting.
Next year, I would like to see Neil Gaiman back, though.
Yes, I agree.
I mean, some people are saying Neil Gaiman should be the next showrunner after Stephen Moffat.
I kind of like that.
I think it's a little too soon to say that.
Well, okay.
Like,
but I feel like this episode, like sort of during the Russell T Davies era, I sort of looked at Stephen Moffat's episodes in the way I looked at Neil Gaiman's episode this season, and I was like I felt that same way after having watched Neil Gaiman's episode. So I feel like it's sort of the same thing, but then again, it's only been one episode, and Stephen Moffat had plenty of episodes before he became the next showrunner, so...
Well, yeah, I think... I don't know how early it was that people started calling out for Stephen Moffat to be the next showrunner, because I wasn't really a part of Doctor Who fandom when Series 1 and Series 2 were ending, but I know that by the time Blink aired, there was buzz about people saying things like, oh, after Russell T Davies leaves, Stephen Moffat should take over. And by the time Russell T Davies announced that he was leaving, there was a lot of buzz that Stephen Moffat probably would take over. Maybe that was buzz because people knew something, or maybe that was just wishful thinking that turned out to be true. But Neil Gaiman has a career.
Well, okay, he does.
I mean, not that Stephen Moffat had no career, because I mean, he wrote Coupling, he wrote Jekyll, he was signed on to write multiple movies in the Tintin series.
Oh, right.
And he has a credit on the script for the upcoming one. I know he wrote the first draft, and then it was rewritten by some other people. So I don't know how much of a hand he ended up having in it, but...
Well, then.
Oh, speaking of other things he's written...
Oh?
Did you notice the Jekyll reference in The Doctor's Wife?
No, I didn't.
You have seen Jekyll, yes?
I have.
Okay, so Sexy says at one point that she likes biting because it's like kissing, except there's a winner.
Oh!
Do you remember that?
I do.
Okay, in Jekyll says to Benjamin, "Have you ever murdered anyone?" And he says, "No, I can't say as I have," or in his ridiculous fake American accent, and he's like, "It's just like sex, but there's a winner." Yeah,
I do remember that.
I don't know if that was an intentional callback or just a similar thing.
Yeah, huh. It does seem very similar. Well, I mean, yeah, it is very similar. But maybe not similar enough. But it does almost sound like a more, I guess, G-rated version of that line. Mm-hmm. That's kind of...
Anyhow.
Yeah.
So, next week,
yes.
Yeah, next week's episode looks kind of, it looks creepy.
It does look creepy.
It looks a little bit, I don't know, I haven't heard any buzz about it.
I don't know, it's just weird because just after this episode, I feel like I just feel like The Doctor's Wife was just so big and just so perfect, I guess, that I can't get psyched up about this next episode. Like, I don't know. And
I think that's one of the reasons for the split season. Because, I mean, it's just big tentpole events. I mean, you had the opening two-parter, which was sort of an event, and then you had this other episode that's not as much of an event, but it's about pirates, and you can always have buzz about pirates, because it's like, ooh, it looks piratey.
Oh, yes.
And then there's this, and there was a lot of buzz around this episode.
Right.
And
That's
there's
true.
not much buzz. There's not much buzz about the next two episodes, but I mean, maybe once we see the cliffhanger at the end of part one, we'll be buzzing.
Yeah, maybe it'll catch us by surprise, and we'll have wished we had buzzed previously.
It does look creepy, though.
It does.
So, And it featured Eye Patch Lady in the teaser trailer for next time.
Did it really? I didn't pick up on that.
Yeah, I believe she was featured briefly, so maybe we'll get something more substantial about her.
I would like that.
Yeah.
At least some of these questions have to be answered by the halfway point, or at least I would wish that.
Or at least addressed.
Yeah.
In a meaningful way.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyhow. Well, one this was actually a couple weeks ago, but I missed it the first time around. So we got a comment from someone who had an interesting theory. This is posted on our episode 20, which is the one in which we talked about Day of the Moon.
Okay.
And this is by a commenter named Adrienne. And I'm actually just going to paraphrase this, but this sort of goes off the fact that in The Lodger, the unknown aliens were trying to build a TARDIS, but they couldn't find anyone to pilot it, and so this commenter sort of thinks that maybe they're trying to build their own Time Lord.
Oh.
And so that's why they've created this little girl, presumably Amy's daughter, and they presumably have some kind of hand in her conception.
That's interesting.
Or the fact that she has the apparent ability to regenerate. Mm-hmm. And they gave her the spacesuit, which they were working on or whatever. So I mean, it's clear that this girl is some kind of project of theirs, and perhaps they're trying to build a Time Lord that can fly this Lodger TARDIS.
Interesting.
I hadn't thought of that, but it makes a lot of sense to me.
It does. But I wonder to what... I mean, like, obviously this is something that would be revealed much later on, but, like, to what end? Like, why go through all this trouble? Why?
Why, indeed. I'm still hoping that we're going to get some kind of answer as to whether and why the Silents were responsible for the TARDIS explosion that propelled the entire plot of Series 5.
Yes. I would like that too.
One thing I'm beginning to become more interested in the notion that separate universes might be a thing.
Okay.
Because they were mentioned in The Doctor's Wife. I mean, in both and in Curse of the Black Spot, I don't remember what it was exactly, but they go into this other universe, and the Doctor tries to explain what the other a metaphor for what the other universe is like, and Amy and Rory get it, and he says, "Well, actually, it's not like that at all. But if that'll help, then there you go."
Right.
And then he does something very similar in this episode.
Yes, I did notice that.
So I don't know. It might be more than just a coincidence that. Yeah. So.
Huh.
And given that the plot of Series 5 had to do with eventually rebooting the universe,
right?
Maybe that was exactly what the Silents wanted for one reason or another.
Huh. That's very interesting. Yeah, I do hope we find out more about the Silents and what they're... Yeah. And that is... Yeah, jumping back to Series 5, that is a lingering question, is what caused the TARDIS to explode. And it would be nice to get answers to that. I hope they don't completely ignore it.
Yes, I hope so too. Anyhow, I think we've said all there is to say about that.
I think so.
Would you now like to do a quick rundown of the news from Upfronts Week?
Sure, yeah.
Okay, I'm going to do a little explanation of what Upfronts Week is. It's the week in which all of the major television networks in the U.S. host these events where they announce their schedules for the coming fall season, which basically tells people what new shows have been picked up and what old shows have disappeared.
I thought you were going to say, like, put down, because that would be the opposite of picked up, yeah.
Well, yeah, sorry. I wasn't thinking. I just wasn't thinking. But given that a couple of months ago we talked about upcoming shows, I figured I'd follow up on those shows that we discussed and whether or not they have been picked up.
Sounds good.
I think so. Okay, so we're going to go through the networks in alphabetical order.
Ooh.
Starting with ABC.
You don't say.
Do you remember Poe?
Was that like the... Yeah, that was like the crime drama with the...
With Edgar Allan Poe.
Yes.
That did not get picked
Aw.
up. Yeah, I'm kind of sad about that.
That would have been awesome.
Neither did the television remake of True Lies.
Oh.
Or the American remake of Being Erica, which is sad. Well, I don't know if it's sad, but I mean, I would have been interested to see it. Anyhow, what did get picked up was the show Once Upon a Time.
Is that that's the crime drama? That's the fantasy crime drama.
No.
Okay, then I don't know what
There were multiple fairy tale themed shows that were on our list.
So confused.
This is one of them.
Okay.
This is the one that's about fairy tale people have to live in the real world.
Okay.
And it's written by Eddie Kitsis and Adam Horowitz, who were writers from Lost, and they wrote Tron Legacy.
Yeah.
It may be. It may have a crime element. I don't even really know.
You know, I'm sure they could throw it in.
It could be that crimes are committed.
Crime is something that happens in the real world.
That's true. That could be one of the things they have to deal with.
Because crime doesn't happen in fairy tales.
Well, I mean, I feel like bad things happen, but they aren't discussed in a criminal context.
That's true.
Like no one's prosecuted for their misdeeds.
You know, maybe that's something that fairy tales should consider implementing, a justice system.
It might be a better idea for a network television show.
Yes.
But anyhow, moving on to CBS.
Yes.
The show Person of Interest.
Person of Interest.
That is the J.J. Abrams show that features Michael Emerson.
Yeah.
And he's playing a software developer, I think.
Okay.
Who has created this brilliant pattern recognition software and is using it to help Jim Caviezel, who is a former CIA turned vigilante.
Aha.
So
that's interesting.
I mean, Jim Caviezel's the star. I just sort of framed it as though Michael Emerson were the star.
Well, and to be honest, I think it would be better.
Well, he is for me. He's the star for me.
Michael Emerson will always be the star in my heart.
Yeah, pretty much.
He can be the star of my show.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I don't know where I was taking that.
Anyhow, the CW. There was this show that I was kind of interested in called Awakening, which is a zombie show about teenage girls. Did not get picked up.
Oh, man.
I know. I'm kind of upset about that. But they did pick up Ringer, which is a show starring Sarah Michelle Gellar.
Ooh.
As a set of twins with a sort of mistaken identity thing. One of them commits suicide. The other one is on the run from the law, but takes on the identity of the one who committed suicide or something.
Yeah. Okay. I do remember that.
And Nestor Carbonell is in it.
Oh, sweet.
As the man with the dark eyelashes who is trying to track her down.
You know, whenever a dark eyelashed gentleman is called for, they go to Nestor Carbonell.
Yeah, like, for instance, the dark eyelasheded mayor of Gotham City.
Precisely.
He was the mayor, right?
I think, yes, he was.
In The Dark Knight.
Yes.
I wonder if he's going to be in the next one, too.
Didn't he die?
Nestor Carbonell?
Yeah.
Or
oh, no, he didn't.
Mayor?
He was okay.
I don't remember.
Someone else died.
A few people.
Yeah, several people died, you know.
But anyhow, on Fox, Terra Nova, which is this Steven Spielberg thing about humans from the future colonizing prehistoric Earth.
Wow.
I don't think I'm really all that interested in it, but it might be decent. I don't know.
Hasn't that kind of been done?
By whom?
There was a Nickelodeon show.
Was there?
I think so. No, maybe not. I remember watching it. I don't remember. Anyway, so something called... Oh, I'm going to look this up. I think it was called... I don't want to get this wrong here. Okay.
Oh, are you thinking of Land of the Lost?
Oh, that's it.
Which was actually a remake of an older show, and was more recently remade as, I think, a Will Ferrell movie.
Oh, you're right.
Like a year or two ago.
Yes, you're right.
I don't think that was prehistoric Earth, though, was it? I thought it was like another planet.
Geez, I don't know.
I don't know. I never saw... I never saw the original, and I never extensively saw the Nickelodeon version.
Oh, you're right. It's a mysterious world by means of a dimension portal. So, okay, so there's... So, yeah. All right, well, whatever. Okay, fine. Maybe this is an original idea.
Well, I mean... I don't know. I mean, it's humans in the time of dinosaurs. I don't think there's anything really all that original about it.
I think the Animorphs even did that.
Oh, yeah. Megamorphs 2, I believe. Or perhaps it was 3.
I wouldn't have been able to tell you that off the top of my head, but I'm glad that you could.
Well, of course. In the doobly-doo, I'm going to put a link to a great YouTube video by Neil Cicierega on the topic of Animorphs.
Okay.
And I'll link it to you on Skype so that you don't have to wait till this episode gets released.
Oh, good.
But it has nothing to do with anything.
Okay.
I just want people to watch it.
Oh, well, of course.
Well, if you never read the Animorphs books or had any consciousness of Animorphs at all, then it won't make any sense to you, so you can skip it. But if you had any knowledge of Animorphs, then it will be amusing.
All right, then.
Anyhow, Alcatraz, which is the new J.J. Abrams show about... It features time travel, a mysterious island, and Jorge Garcia.
Wow. That's something J.J. Abrams has never done before.
Yeah.
Wait, this is another J.J. Abrams show? I feel like I already expressed surprise at this, so I'm not going to duplicate my surprise.
Yeah, well... I don't know. He Jorge Garcia plays a college professor, I think.
What?
He's an expert in the field of Alcatraz, and the premise of this, I believe, is that many years ago, a bunch of criminals disappeared from Alcatraz.
Oh, yeah.
And have suddenly reappeared. And it's sort of like... I'm guessing what it's going to be like is every week they have to track down a criminal from the past who is causing havoc in the present. And they'll do that for about a season and a half, and then they'll completely abandon that and do something way more serialized and weird.
Of course. That's
sort of like Fringe.
Yeah. Makes sense.
But
I'll watch it. Actually, I don't know.
Yeah,
I'll definitely watch it.
Well, I'll give it a try.
I'll give it a try, yeah. I mean, I'm not going to commit to, more than a season. I can't do that.
Well, I will watch at least one episode.
Yeah.
Also, there's a show called Touch that we mentioned, in which Kiefer Sutherland's mute autistic son can see the future.
Aha.
I don't think I want to watch this, but we talked about it, so I'm confirming that it's still happening.
Okay.
NBC. It's the last of the major networks, alphabetically.
Yeah. Wow.
So there's...
Why do we stop at N?
I don't know.
Why can't there be like an XBC?
Someday, perhaps, you can start it.
I will. It'll be the Extreme Broadcasting Network. Corporation. Why would it be network?
Yes.
Okay, anyway, yeah, go ahead.
So the show Grimm, which is the show about fairy tale procedural, that is going to be on NBC.
Aha.
What is not going to be on NBC is 17th Precinct, which is the Ron Moore show.
Aww.
That's a cop show in a world where, and I think we had some good laughs about this last time we talked about it, in a world where science doesn't work, but magic does.
Oh yeah. I remember laughing. That was fun.
I think we said it was stupid.
Yeah.
Or at least I thought it was stupid.
Yeah.
Or that's a stupid thing to say.
Yeah.
Like, what I'm saying is I don't believe that was actually the premise of the show. I think that a stupid person summarized the show that way. Like, I don't think the premise of this show is like, all rational inquiry through experimentation is doomed to fail. I think that might be a direct quote from what I said in the previous episode. Anyhow. So NBC is not doing Wonder Woman either.
I thought they were.
Well, they filmed the pilot, and they chose not to pick it up.
Oh, okay.
So...
Well, it's probably that ridiculous costume.
Well, or the ridiculous script.
Could have been.
/ everything else. And this is a show I'm actually really interested in. It's called Awake.
Awake.
It was previously called REM.
Okay.
And the network described it as an Inception-style thriller. And I think on the previous episode, we also made fun of how NBC has someone stupid at the network writing these things.
Probably. That sounds like a thing we'd do.
Yeah. Jason Isaacs, who is from Things.
Things.
I mean, I only really know him from the Harry Potter movies. He plays Malfoy's dad. But he is in a car crash with his wife and son. And when he wakes up, he finds out that his wife survived, but his son died. But then the next day he wakes up and the opposite happened.
Huh.
Like the survival is reversed. So he's living in two worlds. And he has to solve crimes in each world using clues from the other world.
Oh. That's actually kind of cool.
I'm kind of intrigued by this.
Yeah.
But, and there's presumably going to be some sort of angst over which world is real and which is... Maybe they're both real.
Maybe.
I don't know.
He's just phasing in and out.
Apparently he wears like a rubber band on his arm, and in one world he wears a red rubber band, and in one he wears a green one, and that lets him know where he is.
Oh, that's clever.
Sort of like in The Constant. Lost, where do I have a beard or do I not have a beard?
The facial hair is a good way to know what time you're in.
That and rubber bands.
Yes.
Anyhow, I think this has gone on long enough.
Probably.
Let's put a stop to this.
Okay.
So, you've been listening to The Cloister Room, a podcast about Doctor Who and other things. Now, if you wanted to tell us about things, Lewis, what would you, as the hypothetical listener, do?
I'd probably go on the website.
Really?
Yeah, thecloisterroom.com. Leave a comment.
What would that accomplish?
Well, you might see it. Well, we might see it. Well, wait, hang on, because I'm confused now. Am I the hypothetical? Am I the listener, or am I 50% of the podcast? And is it 50%, or is it like more like 40? Because like I don't really control the website. You do, and then like
and the Twitter.
And so
I have all the control.
You have all the control. So it's more like 70-30, I think. Well, it depends on how much weight you give to the website and the Twitter. I mean, like, I don't know.
Well,
I don't know.
Our website isn't like the hot place to go for all things. For Doctor Who and other things. I mean, it's not a very well-designed website. It just exists to point people in the direction of the podcast episodes and allow them to comment. And we read a comment.
We did?
Or referred to... Well, I summarized a comment by a listener named Adrienne.
So let that be a lesson to all the listeners out there. We do actually read your comments if you put them on the website.
We don't read emails, though.
Nah, just messing with you with that.
Actually, I said something in last week's episode that was very similar to something that a listener named Lewis, not you, Lewis, had mailed or emailed to us at thecloisterroom@gmail.com.
Oh, really?
And I hadn't checked the email account, so I missed it, and he thought I was ripping him off.
Well, that's yeah, that'll happen. I guess.
I also forgot to check it today, so...
So maybe there's...
So I'm checking it now.
Okay. It's good these things are...
Nope,
okay.
Nothing new. Okay. Anyhow, I already said the email address. If you wanted to contact us on Twitter, Lewis, give them some ideas.
Well, you can contact our official Twitter, and that's at the Cloister Room. Or you could contact me. I'm at Mila's Belly.
Is that not official?
Well, kind of official. I'm going to say a little bit.
It's sort of like a countercultural underground Twitter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it kind of is.
Anyhow, mine is T. Dickinson, so you can follow me there.
Yeah.
And yeah, those are the ways to contact us. Thanks for listening to this unreasonably long episode of the Cloister Room. I can't wait for you to hear next week's. I mean, I can't wait to record next week's either. I can't wait for you to hear this one, which will have already happened. Jeez, I am tired. I'm just not being coherent. Until that time, those times that I just mentioned, until all of them, I've been Tom.
I've been Lewis.
Goodbye.
See ya.
Wow. That just trailed off.